Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to this video. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 things I think you should know about this incredibly powerful, accelerating, and transformative full moon we have here on August 3rd, 2020. It's a blessing and an honor and a joy to be here with all of you, and I'm very excited to get into the reading. I actually have 6 things for you today. Number 1. Where'd it go? Leveling up your spiritual practice. You might find in your own life, in a myriad of different ways, that there's very little room for sloppiness. And you know what I mean by that. Your own higher self is placing on you higher expectations than ever before. Why? Well, because you're ready for it. Even though the experience of transitioning into this higher frequency can be overwhelming at times. It can be very purgative at times. There might be times where you think you're losing your freaking mind, but that's okay. The challenges in your life at this moment and at this time are perfect. They're perfect catalysts to help you ascend to a new level of you. And as you do this, achieve this abstract accomplishment of leveling up to a new level of yourself, it reflects in your life, in your career, in your relationships, in your sense of self, in your health, in your sleep, in everything. All areas of your life will soon reflect this. But you might find that you might be communicating to yourself, whether it be through synchronicity, it might be through just little challenging hiccups happening in your life. It might be through just challenging times that in the moment seem like there's no way out. All of these things are literally just reflections of the old you dying away, giving birth to the new you. So with all that said, if you feel a bit crazy at times, overwhelmed, it's cool. Right now I'm in Sedona, and Sedona is an extremely high vibrational place. And I was talking to my friend Bridget Nielsen, she's a local. She was saying that the people who live here have a mutual respect for each other because it's a very, very high vibrational place where you really have to be on your A game at all times. Otherwise, you kind of suffer. And a lot of people tend to come and go. Well, it's the first time I've spent a considerable amount of time here now, over a month. And there have literally been times where I was like not sleeping and in my mind racing, thinking, I need to get the heck out of here. I need to go home. I had my bags packed at one time. So the dissonance created when we're acting out these old behaviors can sometimes make your behaviors embarrassing. Like, man, why am I acting this way? I'm a freaking basket case. I can't believe I'm thinking this and doing this and falling into these old patterns. Why? It's okay. It's part of the process of you blossoming into that butterfly. Okay, so just hang in there. Number 2, sort of going along with this theme, I wrote down massive swings, deep purge, and those magic moments. So massive swings, going into sort of backtracking a bit, you might find that you're like up and down at a rate and to an intensity that it's maddening at times, okay? Everybody I know is going through a deep purge. You're going to have a lot of old stuff coming up, being thrown in your face to be dealt with now. There might be even a sense of urgency, like, I need to deal with this now. And you might say, well, I don't know how to deal with it now. It's just like things are being amplified. Old emotions, old behaviors, old cycles are coming to a head, coming to the forefront for you to look at and sometimes experience. Okay. But don't forget the last part of this. I wrote down and those magic moments. You all have had them. You've all had that beautiful contrast where things seem to be going south. You feel like you're losing it. And all of a sudden, you are able to tap into a new depth of faith, a new depth of integrity, a new depth of courage. And as you tap into that little bitty inner layer, that new depth, you rise up. You light that flame again and say, I'm not giving up. I'm going to do what I got to do to persevere. And in that rising of the phoenix within you, you get those magic moments where it's life is like, see, I told you you could do it, and how good it feels to do it yourself and not have these manifestations and goals just handed to you. And there are sometimes these magic moments where you really feel like you're floating through life in a 5D dream, where things are just unfolding beautifully and perfectly with grace, with resonance, and you feel like, wow, there's something really going on with me right now. I had this recently. I shared it in an email. I don't know if you saw it, if you get my emails, but I mentioned how about, I don't know, 10 days ago or so, there was this house. We're in Sedona looking for a house. We found one, but there's a house I thought I wanted. There was this house I wanted so badly. It just resonated with me so deeply. And I had like a knowing this is going to be the one. I could see my family enjoying themselves there. And we didn't get it. And it wasn't the fact that we didn't get the house. I know that's sort of a superficial thing. I agree. It was that house not getting it represented to me like cycles and patterns within me of like disappointment, of letdown, of not being good enough, getting my hopes up and then having them shot down. So that was what spiraled me into this funk, this sleepless funk of nuttiness for about a week. And then finally, we found a different house. And I can look back and see why we didn't get the first house. The first house for me was like exciting to my ego. This other house is more what I really want. But anyway, once I had this sort of shift, I'm kind of getting too much ahead of my reading here. I remember just driving down the road after getting the call, we got the house, and looking out at the red rocks, good songs were playing. And it really was this like magical sort of flowy type of experience where you can just suddenly get these downloads and think, oh my God, I now know exactly why everything played out exactly why it did. It all had a purpose, it all had a place, and it was all benefiting me immensely, more than I could even possibly conceive on my own if I tried. And I know you've had those experiences. And you might not be right now. Right now, you might be in the tornado of your own darkness right now, but that's okay. Don't forget, those experiences are on the other end of that when you finally dig deep inside of yourself and see what you're actually made of, okay? Number 3, to give you a bit more specifics, a lot of what's happening, and also a reason why a lot of people are just experiencing challenges that seem like they don't even fit your circumstances, is because a lot of us here, especially you folks who've been doing the work a long time, are doing what is known as ancestral healing. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever had a cycle or a pattern, or just like an emotional pattern present in your life that maybe has been with you as long as you can remember? And your mind can look back at your actual life here on earth and say, you know what? There's a couple things that happened to me earlier in life that may influence this pattern, but the pattern might seem so ingrained, so deep, so hard to control that it doesn't even make sense. Like, yeah, like for me, I have this pattern of this relationship pattern where I have this, like, I'm always on guard waiting for my wife, and we've been together for 15 years, and mind you, to leave me abruptly. She's never given me the slightest sign to ever do that. And yeah, in high school and whatnot, I had a couple of short-term relationships where that kind of happened. But the intensity of that emotional pattern can be so, it can just take me over so much and drive me such bananas that it doesn't really make sense that it really stems from those earlier relationships. You see? So some of my ancestors, some of my grandparents, there was divorce. There was like promiscuity and those kind of things within like my, down my lineage a little bit. And a lot of times, especially at this time in history now, we come in bearing the burdens of our ancestors. Because as challenging as it is to confront, and not only your own stuff, but your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents' stuff, you can do it. You've shifted like this before in other lifetimes, and that's why you're here now, to help others shift. And you're good at shifting. You really are, whether you think so or not. And that's why you're taking on not only your own stuff, but a lot of other people's stuff as well. And not only that, and it has such a ripple effect. You get to experience a very high level of like spiritual connectedness. You're going to be rewarded, and you already are probably in this lifetime for your work, but you're also doing so many people you're connected to a huge favor on a soul level. But sometimes just the awareness that what you're feeling, what you're temporarily playing out for the purpose of release and transcendence isn't even really yours. And just that awareness sometimes can help you detach and create that space for those energies to just naturally on their own make their way out of your system and be transmuted back into light. So sometimes when you do this healing on yourself, whether you try to or not, it just happens, you might see your relatives changing and transforming along with you. And it's not to say you're the only one to take credit for, but you're certainly helping in this process big time. Number 4, breaking out of the mental prison. I was watching this astrology person. I think her name is Barack or Baraka, really cool woman. I think you would all would dig her. And she was, I don't know, I was listening to my own reading for like Geminis for July or August. And she was saying, hey, Geminis, are you, how did she had put it really nicely and simply. Basically, she was like, are you just recycling through the same old thoughts day in and day out? That same old sort of limited, encapsulated cycle of negative thinking? Is that what you're doing right now? That's what a lot of us do. And that's why we get sort of trapped in these patterns and in these loops, because our consciousness is sort of like being suppressed by the raciness of our mind. So what can be very wise to do at this time is to shake yourself into a new state of consciousness. Really like break out of the patterns of our mind. We just have to break out of the patterns. Reading a new book, going for a walk on a path you've never gone to before, taking a drive, taking a detour, new things, new music. You start to catch yourself doing the same old things, of course, creating the same old response, the same old state of being, the same old thought, the same old behavior, the same life. But sometimes if you just sort of like can become aware that I'm in a little bit of a mental prison here. I was all last week. I'm not ashamed to admit it, big time. So what I did is it just sort of happened for me. My friends got me a trampoline for my birthday. It was like 2 months ago. It took a long time to ship. But I've been jumping on this freaking trampoline all day in and day out, jumping. And I felt intuitively guided to jump on this little mini trampoline in my house over there because I could just sense it was clearing my energy. It was it was like creating space, expanding my consciousness, believe it or not, clearing away the old, allowing for new thoughts, new downloads, new ideas, new inspiration to start to kind of come into my life that can sort of lift me out of the mental prison I have been perpetuating for a long time. This energy can make you aware of your own mental prison and the behaviors you're doing to perpetuate it. And you don't have to be a genius to get out of it. You just do something that you know puts you in a better mood. You make yourself do it. Whether you just like swipe off your desk, you get out a blank piece of paper and just start writing. Start doodling, drawing. What is it you do that puts you in a better mood? It might be, to me, it was a phenomenal contrast. I was in this funk, this like horrible space where I was just in my room, in bed, not even wanting to be around my family. I was in such a funk. And I felt guided to go on that trampoline. And as that happened, I could just feel the energy lift, feel my thoughts expand. And ever since then, I've been having those magical moments. I said, I didn't have to really do anything. I just had to stop doing what I was doing before and shake out of the mental prison. You all know what that means for yourself. Number 5, I wrote down, heart-centered is the key at this time. When I say it earlier in the reading, if you heard it, that your higher self is placing higher expectations on you. And like, basically we're being asked to live a more holy life in a sense. But it does involve your habits and your food and just things like that, the practical things. But even more importantly, more fundamentally, it means living as egoless as you can, as selfless as you can, as heart-centered as you can. That one house I thought I wanted, that was extremely stimulating to Victor's ego. I could say, look at the house I got, guys. Look at this. Look what I've accomplished. And I thought that's what I wanted. This other house is not as nice, but it's on a beautiful piece of property that I'm going to turn it into an Airbnb and have people come there and transform. I'm going to make it a place to come transform. There's like no Wi-Fi. It's low EMFs. It's like this quaint looking place on this beautiful plot of nature. And the reason I got that house is because my intentions weren't to impress my friends and family. It was to, you know what? This will get me and my family to Sedona. And in a short time, I can turn it into an Airbnb and advertise it as a place people come to transform. And I know, I have a knowing that house is going to transform people. It's got the energy. It's a 7 house for you numerologists out there. It's built for this. But that once my intention was not so much about Victor's ego, then the energy started moving. I found that to be the case in the past year with my business, with everything I do. The more heart-centered I can be, the more I can truly listen to what is my soul think is the best thing to do. What is best for everybody? That's when things move forward quickly with grace and harmony and bliss. And also, I'm the beneficiary. I'm a lucky recipient of blessings and abundance as well. But that's a secondary effect of living for others, living for the whole. And if you can look in your life and see, where am I living for the whole? And say, okay, good, check. Where am I not living as selflessly as I know I should be? If you can start to find a way to sort of purify that area of your life, you will be mind blown. I promise you. Magic is happening right now, my friends. Big manifestations, big life shifts, huge life upgrades will happen to those who fall back into their heart and start living from it. Okay? And this is something I still work on. It's something I'm gradually becoming more and more aware of, how present the Victor ego is still there. It's sneaky. That house I mentioned, I swore that I was intuitively guided to that first house. But in letting a little time pass, a few of those challenges show me some things. I was able to see, wow, I was mistaken. That wasn't as heart-centered as I thought. Okay, so don't beat yourself up if you realize that a lot of areas of your life are egoic. That's a sign of awakening. That's a sign of true humility and change. Okay. And number 6, the bonus one, I could not leave this out. I wrote down the perfect catalyst for a mass awakening. I'm reminded of Bashar. He's somebody I like. He's a channeler. You can take his information for what you will. I dig it. But he has this thing he says. He calls it the rubber band analogy. And he talks about this on an individual microcosmic level, as well as a macrocosmic level. He says the further you pull the rubber band back, it's like a slingshot, right? The further you pull that rubber band back into your darkness, the further humanity pulls back the rubber band into its darkness, the more awareness you create about the darkness. To that degree, to that proportion, you will fly into the light, individually and collectively. Well, right now, I don't have to tell you, the rubber band's being stretched to the max into the darkness, the ugliness, the hatefulness in humanity. And a lot of people, because we're here, it's pulled back. That's all we see. We're seeing the virus. We're seeing the controlling systems getting their grip. We're seeing people freaking out. We're feeling the energy and the vibration. We're saying, oh my God, things are bad. We're on a negative timeline. No, we're not. This situation on all levels is the perfect catalyst for that slingshot to fly into the light. You mark my words, you will see pockets of light springing up throughout this experience. And you have to have faith. You have to look through the fog right now and remember your own journey. And how many times have you pulled the rubber band back and thought, oh shit, I'm screwed. And then it flung forward and you say, oh wow, that was perfect. That taught me what I needed to know at this time in my life. Things are great now because of that. Okay. Not a lot of people are aware of that. Not a lot of people see what's going on as what humanity needed. All of us included, we were in our little autopilot mind. We knew the planet's not in a good shape. We knew the systems are corrupt. We knew there's a lot of things that need to be fixing, but you know what? We're just trapped in our autopilot reality, our autopilot mind, our day-to-day sort of flow and hustle reacting to life. We needed something big to shake us awake. And we've gotten it. We've manifested as a collective the perfect catalyst for a mass awakening. And this is just the beginning. Much love to you all. Actually, one more thing. Let me see. Yeah, I feel that's complete for the message, my friend. So those of you who have enjoyed my YouTube videos and want to follow me elsewhere, even though I felt guided, as I mentioned in the recent video, to not do many YouTube videos, I have my suspicions as to why it is, but I'm going to honor that. I am more present in other areas like Instagram. I do daily posts there. There's also a free meditation you can check out down below that's new, that is perfect for empathic people, that will help you clear away energy. And that'll also get you onto my newsletter where I send out emails, I don't know, three times a week, which are exactly like this, inspired messages in written format. There's links down below to check that out. And with that said, I just want to say thank you, my friends. It's always, I love you all. I really do. I can see all the cool engagement and just, I just appreciate you all. I really do. Okay. So you all have an amazing day. I hope what I said was impactful to you and helped you. I could have used this message a couple of weeks ago myself. So maybe it'll help you. I hope it does. Have an amazing day, my friends. Much love to you all. Thank you for your love and your support. And thank you for the work you're doing, because I know it's not easy. And I know it oftentimes goes unthanked and unrewarded, but I know what you've been up to. Okay. We're all doing this work together. So thank you.